now we have the ball bouncing all around and we have the paddle moving back and forth, but whenever the ball hits the paddle, nothing happens. We have to program the ball to bounce off the paddle. So I'm going to switch over to my ball tab. We don't want the paddle to do anything different. We just want the ball to do something different whenever it touches the paddle. Now in the control menu, there are these blocks called if-then blocks. So now every time it moves a little bit, it's going to do an if test. And what it's going to try to do is see if it's touching something. So I need the if-then loop, and I'm going to see if I am touching the sprite number 1. We could rename sprite number 1 when we made it. It's right up here. Paddle. Now that I've renamed it paddle, over here in the code, let's get rid of this. I'm going to try to rename it paddle again. Maybe I need to stop it. That might help. Well, oh, here we go. Sprite. This is where you rename it. It's right here. So now what we're doing is in the basketball, we are adding an if-then statement. We're seeing if it is touching, and that's right here in the sensing tab, if it is touching the paddle. So now if it is touching the paddle, if the ball is touching the paddle, what do we want it to do? Well, we need it to go in a different direction. So we could tell it to point in a certain direction right here. And obviously that's not going to be very much fun because we set the direction to 90. Well, what if we change that direction to 0, for example? So if this ball touches the paddle now, it just bounces straight up and down. Obviously, this is not going to be a fun Pong game. It's doing exactly what we say, but we need to figure out a better way to control the ball. In this case, we're going to have it point in a random upward direction. So over here in operators, there is a random button here. And what we want to do is have it go in a random direction from -60 over here to +60. We don't know which way it will go. And each time it will go a different way, or a different direction off the paddle. So what will happen now is every time it's touching the paddle, instead of going straight up and down like it did when we had 0, it's just going to pick a random number between -60 and +60. Let's give it a try this time. That is operating the way I would want it to.